Hello, everyone.
Hi, happy Wednesday.
It is Hump Day.
Oof. Welcome to this week's Facebook Live, VA Claims Insider. I'm veteran coach Jen McDonald, and I'm super excited to be hosting today with my super good friend, Sosa.
What's up? What's up, Jen? How you doing? How's everything?
I'm so good. It's so good. You know what? Here in the Midwest, it's dead, so I really have nothing to report. We've got amazing weather after an oppressive and tumultuous stormy week. But that's all I have here in the Midwest. What do you got going on up
It,
there?
it's funny, as you said. Right now, it's very relaxed here in the Midwest. I'm here in New York City, and um, I heard like cars and ambulance passes by. So if you guys hear that in the background, that's what it is. Um,
He's
I'm
not
super.
being pulled over. It's just the
No, I'm not being pulled. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm home, but there's just craziness of New York City. But yeah, super excited to be here. Talk about an awesome topic that it's near to dear to me, but to a lot of veterans that are around dealing with certain uncertainties, trying to figure out what's going on and how to get some answers right in this VA journey that they're probably in.
right on. Today we're going to talk about the Gulf War syndrome and Gulf War veterans illness. This is something. There's a lot of questions um, going on, and what's presumptive and what isn't, and what's the path to success for veterans who served and are dealing with these issues and these symptoms. So this is kind of going to be a deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully we get a lot of really good interaction and really good questions. But before we get to our topic, we want to invite the veterans who are joining us to sound off.
Yeah.
Tell us in the comment section, what branch did you serve in? Are you already an elite member? If so, give your coach a shout out. And where are you checking in from? Where are you? Are you somewhere international? Are you here in the States? Just kind of let us know where you're at. Who's your coach? If you're joining, if you're interested in joining. And we've got a Marine sounding off right away.
There you go.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I did. Yeah, I do want to address that. My name is Coach Henry, as you guys can see. But I've been doing this. December will be 3 years as a coach. Super excited. I came here as a client in 2020 while I had COVID. Actually, I remember I was in bed dealing with COVID, and I'm like, I need help with my claim. I signed up as a client, and last August I became 100% permanent total. Super excited. But before then, I joined the army a month before 9/11. So when I left New York City, there were two towers up in the sky. While I was in basic training, 9/11 happened, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? And then 2 or 3 years later, I went to Iraq, got injured, and came home, and then battled with the VA on my own. Got myself to 70% through Brian's videos and certain like that, but I felt stuck, which is why I needed help, and I'm here, super excited.
Congratulations on your wins. Whatever the path is that brought you to be part of this team. I think as a team, we're all grateful to have you here. You're an incredible coach. Your veterans are so blessed to have you. And
You.
I love to call you my friend. I am veteran coach Jen McDonald. I've been with the organization since January of 2021. I joined at the beginning of the year. I did not serve in our precious military. However, I am the daughter, wife, and mother and sister-in-law of United States Marines. My stepfather and my father-in-law are boots on the ground Vietnam veterans. My entire family is served in the military. I have engaged with, interacted with, and supported veterans for my entire life. Professionally, I was supporting veterans in healthcare for, more than a decade. My husband's a former VA Raider. And now in our community and professionally here, coaching veterans to success, being able to facilitate success for veterans achieving their disability benefits, their healthcare benefits. This is the most fulfilling and rewarding professional role I've ever had. And the relationships I have the opportunity to develop. It's honestly a privilege and an honor to be able to be in this role and work every single day with the most deserving demographic in the world.
Amen.
Thank you all for your
Amen.
service. Thank you, Henry, for your service. Thank you for being part of this team.
Thank you for your service too, because just because you never put on a uniform doesn't mean you didn't serve as the supporting cast, right? I always say that during Veterans Day when people thank me for my service, I'm like, you need to thank my wife too because she has to deal with me all the time.
And my people are Marines, so that's really hard to deal with. And you guys all out there, Marines, you can own it. You can own it. And it looks like we have a lot checking in.
Yes,
We've got a lot of
yes,
Gulf War vets that are checking in. We've got a lot of our military veterans who are checking in. So let's give them a couple of shout outs real
yeah.
quick.
We got
A lot of current.
Javon, U.S. Army, Florida, 23 years. Is it 23 years old or 23 years in
No,
the
I think
Army?
that is a Florida veteran who was in the Army for 23 years. I'm going to interpret for you.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Let's see. We've got a couple of our other coaches that are tuning in as well. So thanks for being here, VCM Cassie.
Yeah.
Got Jeff Finney checking in, a Desert Storm vet from Tampa.
Albert from Texas.
Love it. We've got an active duty Navy veteran.
Let's go.
Active duty Navy right now. Let's see. Got
That's
a 10-year
awesome.
Navy veteran. Let's see. Well, this is great. We've got some really good engagement. I love that there are Gulf War vets in the room because this is specifically what we're going to talk about today for our topic. Now we'll talk a little bit about our program before we get started, and then we'll go do our deep dive. And afterwards, what we're going to do is take question and answers. And I want you all to know that you do not have to ask us questions specific to our topic. We're here to answer questions about our program. If we can help out with some tips, tricks, hacks, please, by all means, ask your questions. And any question that's asked in the chat that we don't get a chance to directly address, understand that our team behind the scenes, shout out to Kat, our team behind the scenes will go back after our time is up and make sure that every question gets answered and gets addressed. So if we don't get to you during our session, we'll get to you. So thank you all for being here. Sosa, you want to go ahead
kick this off? Yeah,
handle
I was gonna say, let's kick this off. Let's knock out the disclaimer just to get it out of the way, right? So our VA Claims Insiders disclaimer: we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veteran Affairs, also known as the VA. And we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching/consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with our vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred provider network for medical examination and independent medical opinion, also known as IMOs, for a wide range of disability conditions.
Thank you. Thank you. So very articulate today.
I try to be very, it's a disclaimer. I think sometimes we just read through it, but I wanted to emphasize on every single word.
And one of the things I like to go back and pull out of the disclaimer, since we're going to talk a little bit about our program, we're going to talk about how to get started, what's the basis. But one thing that I like to pull out of our disclaimer is we are not affiliated with the VA. Okay, we're not VSOs, we're not attorneys, we're not accredited agents. We are coaches.
We're passionate
consultants. And we are veteran advocates. We want the veteran to be successful. This is our passion. This is what we do every single day, whether we're working with our VACI veterans or we're working with our friends, family, and our community members. This is what we do. And as an organization, the passion to facilitate the success with our veterans based on strategy and perspective is real. Okay, so I just want to make sure that it's very clear. We're not affiliated with the VA. We are veteran coaches. This is a coaching and consultation organization. We're all about education.
Okay? I do want to ask you something. You, Jen, you keep mentioning this elite program. What is that about?
So our elite program is our veterans. Veterans come to our organization. You start out either with a discovery call or just sign directly up and be assigned to a coach. And actually, I think Kat will drop our links in so you can actually opt to just join and be assigned to either Coach Henry or to Coach me. Coach me.
Who's that?
That's what you get. I'm the real deal. That's it.
I want to sign up to coach me.
But when you join, so you're going to start out with being greeted by an elite program coordinator that works directly with you and your coach. From there, you're going to get a strategy call with your coach. And a strategy call is where you identify where are you starting from? What is the gap? Where are you starting from and what is the goal? And then the two of you will identify what's the best way to achieve your goal. What do you have already as far as supporting evidence? What do you need? And what is the path of least resistance? That is so vital, the path of least resistance to keep it simple and achieve your goal. Okay. And one thing that your coach is going to invite you to do immediately is to be open to perspective and strategy. All right. You may already know what you want to be service connected for your disability, but being open to perspective and focusing on achieving value is exactly where your mind needs to be. Achieve the value and then make sure that you're getting the benefits to take care of all of your healthcare and achieving your goals.
I'm speaking that from experience, Jen. When I came again as a client, I thought I knew everything, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And my coach tried to tell me, well, there might be another route, and I was like, no, I want to do it this way. You guys, you signed up for a reason, right? Let your coach be your coach. Let him, he or she, coach you in this process, educate you in this process. And if I wasn't such a hard-headed person when I first started, I would have probably been at 100 a long time ago. But it took my coach to have patience and understanding, empathy, and then I got it when I got it. But yeah, there's a reason you sign up, right? There's a reason you say, you know what, let me trust these people and to be the GPS guide to take me where I need to go, right? You guys are still in the driver's seat because we don't submit claims, we don't prosecute claims, we don't represent you at the VA. We're here to educate you, give you the best tools possible for you guys to
feel your tenacity.
Have a successful, exactly.
And feel your tenacity because there's no guarantees. The VA is a very tumultuous process. Filing claims, waiting for your claims, processing through CMP exams, it's daunting and it's intimidating. And understanding the process, understanding what you need to know to be confident and to be prepared going through each step is really important. Understanding what medical evidence is the most valuable and where to get specific evidence. Where do you get a nexus letter?
And what is a nexus letter?
Yeah. And why is this, everybody's heard about a nexus letter by now. This is, a trending term, but where do I get it? And what does it mean? What does it do for me? Why is it so valuable? So these are conversations you're going to have with your coach, and understand you're going to work with your coach. You're going to work with an elite program coordinator, but you can work with the entire team because your coach isn't your only resource. Your coach is in addition to the classes. The classes are so valuable. I need one of our current veterans to shout out in the chat, how valuable are our classes to your process? Okay. Our resources, our YouTube channel has priceless resources. If you're a current veteran, you're working within the Insider portal. How valuable are the resources and the tools that you get through the Insider portal? This is all part of the program. So it's not just your coach. It's not just your EPC. All right. These are your primary contacts. But from there, there's so much more support. And we as a team are going to be with you through the entire process. Success, restart. We're going to feel that tenacity and keep you in the game, because staying in the fight and supporting your claims and understanding the process, that's the key to success.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, this topic of Gulf War veterans, Gulf War conditions, right? It's very, I won't say tricky, but it can be right. There you go. That was the word I was going to use.
I
Of
told you
course.
I'll do the articulation. You
Uh,
just sit there and
of course, I was going to use that word. I use it all the time.
big words.
But yeah, Gulf War. This is usually for vets who were in that side of the world from August 2nd, right, till now, obviously. But if you want to touch a little bit more on the unexplained, or address a little bit more about the undiagnosed conditions as far as trying to get that service connected.
So the key there is, let me hit on a couple of things. So again, the Gulf War dates for the Gulf War vets, Gulf War syndrome. This is veterans who served in deployment zones proximate to the Persian Gulf, okay, from August 2nd, 1990 to the present day. Okay, so it's considered the Southwest Asia theater of service, okay? This covers Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi, Bahrain, Qatar, however you want to say that, Qatar,
Qatar, that's how I say it.
the UAE, Oman, Afghanistan, Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Syria, Jordan, and the Gulfs, the Gulf of Aden, Oman, the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Sea, and the Red Sea, and the airspace. So this is for veterans who served on a ship in the water, who flew over. But from August 2nd of 1990 to today. Okay, so you do qualify, and your DD 214 can potentially stand to support that for you. Gulf War veterans illness. Okay, so very clearly, a group of several illnesses or a combination of symptoms. The VA often considers it undiagnosed or medically unexplainable. What's really important to focus on with regard to Gulf War veterans illness or Gulf War syndrome is that these issues are undiagnosed. These are related to complaints, symptoms, disorders, in most cases that go undiagnosed. So we're talking about fatigue, undiagnosed fatigue, undiagnosed skin symptoms, random, undiagnosed, not formally diagnosed or connected headaches, muscle pain, joint pain, neurological symptoms, mental health symptoms, respiratory symptoms, trouble sleeping, and cardiac symptoms. Now, understand I'm saying symptoms because the caveat here is once these are diagnosed and officially labeled,
that's it.
Then that changes the game for you. Okay. So if you're seeing the doctor for these symptoms and they're not able to diagnose them, these are all happening all together, and they're not putting a label on it. They're not calling your neurological symptoms, Parkinson's, or they're not calling your fatigue. They're not calling your mental health symptoms insomnia. If they're not labeling it, then, and they're still just undiagnosed symptoms, then you meet this criteria. A couple issues that are presumed to be service connected, related to service in this theater, that are diagnosed are chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. You have these can be presumed to have been caused by your service in this location.
Now, even something like chronic fatigue, it takes a while because it's a bunch of trial and errors to figure out what it is, right? Because nothing ever sticks.
It is, because they'll look for autoimmune issues like rheumatoid issues.
Yep.
So you're going to have been tested over and over and over again, and if they can't formally diagnose you, then you could meet the criteria for Gulf War syndrome. Now, I'm going to be very forthcoming that success with Gulf War syndrome can be very tricky, because throughout all this testing and these undiagnosed symptoms, you could achieve a diagnosis. Gastrointestinal issues could be diagnosed as GERD or IBS. That changes the game, right? If now you're diagnosed and it's no longer Gulf War syndrome, it could still be presumptive of your service. But let me tell you, there is a far easier strategy that coaches can help you with to service connect a diagnosed condition rather than trying to battle out the Gulf War syndrome. So we can really help you getting with a coach, and looking at strategy as Gulf War syndrome and pursuing it that way, the best pathway for you to achieve success? Is it the path of least resistance, or are there other strategies that could be more successful for you?
And that, excuse me, and that right there is the prime example why a strategy is so important, because every vet is not the same. The journey to wherever the rating that you deserve, because obviously not every vet is 100% disabled, but let's say the rating that you deserve is 90, right? Your journey to 90 is a lot different than the next vet. So that's why strategy session is so important. Also, you mentioned something about the path of least resistance. I think coach is the one that always says it. It takes 28 10% to get to 100, right? So do you want to go through 28 CMPs? You want to go through
I think
28
that's his next
evaluations?
tattoo, actually. I think that's going to be his next. There might be room somewhere, but I think that's his next tattoo. Is how many 10% does it take to get to?
But something like that is just, man, do you really want to deal with the VA 28 times when you can just follow your coach's strategy on the path of least resistance and not have to deal with the back and forth? But for me personally, for my journey, headaches was like, as I see this list of undiagnosed conditions, headaches was probably one of those that I would have probably dealt with as undiagnosed, because they kept treating me for it, but they never diagnosed me with it. I had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and finally it took them, I think it was like 10 or 11 months for them to finally diagnose me with it. So
Well, here's a fun strategy. An example of a path of least resistance for for a Desert Storm, Desert Shield veteran who's dealing with GI issues or headaches. Taking the presumptive route could be a lot more resistant to success because you're spanning decades, right? You got to prove that. So, with regard to eligibility, you have to prove that this started within 10 years of your service. And how many vets, let's all of you in the privacy of your own home, raise your hand. How many of you got out of the military and started seeing the doctor immediately within the first 10 years? Because not a lot of vets do. You were trained at an early age to suck it up. You got this, deal with it, power through. And so even to this day, a lot of veterans don't see the doctor. You don't have medical records to show that these issues developed to a rateable severity within 10 years of being in the military, because you were still in your 20s, 27, 28 years old. Well, yeah, ish, within that 10 years. But a lot of vets don't have medical evidence to support that. So there's going to be resistance there. Here's a path that could be right now in real time. Veterans who are dealing with tinnitus, who are dealing with anxiety or insomnia and headaches, all three of them are connected. So you can deal with, you can put a strategy together to connect these issues for significant value. Tinnitus, anxiety and insomnia, and headaches could be a 70 to 80% rating. Just the three of those issues, path of least resistance to high value. And you can leave the Gulf War syndrome fight behind you, because that could be, it could be a super easy path. You may have the evidence that supports all of it, but if you don't, you can make it really simple with a high value strategy.
Yeah.
And that's what we specialize in. We specialize in knowing the 38 CFR, knowing what are the high value issues, being able to look at what are the medical conditions that you as a veteran deal with, and let's put those together as a strategy for high value disability.
Now, like Brian always says, get your butt to the doctor, right?
Oh,
so undiagnosed does not mean you've never been to the doctor and you're at home self-medicating yourself with CVS and Walgreens. That's not undiagnosed. Undiagnosed is you've gone to the doctor and they just can't find what's going on, right? So that's, let's make sure we understand that part, because yeah. Now, as far as presumptive, I keep hearing you say that word, Jen. What does that mean, presumptive?
So presumptive means presume. So if you are diagnosed, or if you are undiagnosed and you meet the criteria, it is presumed that based on the exposure from your time in the region. Okay, so remember, burn pits all the way up to this day. All right, the burning oil fields, the unlimited pollution in the region. This is all considered to be a toxic exposure, and based on common complaints, symptoms, diagnoses that are related to veterans who have served in this theater of service during this time, these conditions are presumed to be connected to that exposure. And that's your path to service connection. Some issues are going to need a nexus letter for service connection, a medical opinion. But when it's presumed, there's a high likelihood that you won't need that nexus letter, and your service records actually support that presumption and that connection.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Presume is the connection, right, for your current symptoms and your in-service event, which is part of the Kaluza triangle. For some of you who have probably heard that in some of our videos in the past, Kaluza triangle is the blueprint, I like to call it, to getting a condition service connected, which is an in-service event, a current diagnosis, which in this case does not help, but a current diagnosis, and a nexus, right? A bridge that connects the two things together.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So for veterans that are not sure, if you're not sure if you have a qualifying condition, the VA can do a Gulf War Registry health exam. Okay, so you can reach out to a VA clinic or a VA healthcare center, let them know that you meet the criteria for service. So again, August 2nd of 1990 to today, you served in the Persian Gulf, in that long list of locations that I listed. And we have some resources. We have a link to.
Yes, I was literally just going to ask Kat if she can post the link of that article.
And all of the locations are in here, the dates again. And you can reach out to a local Gulf War clinic, VA clinic, your VA healthcare center, and let them know that you believe that you want to find out if you're eligible, if you meet the criteria, and you can get a Gulf War Registry health exam. Okay, it's a free exam conducted by the VA. It includes medical history, exposure history, lab tests, and a physical exam. Okay. And they'll provide this for any veteran who wants to know if they're eligible and meet the medical criteria, the diagnostic or lack thereof criteria for Gulf War syndrome or Gulf War veterans illness. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna look through our outline to see if there's anything else we can expand a little bit more on. I see we've got a ton of questions going, and I love that there are a lot of relevant questions. And again, I want to give a shout out to all the Desert Storm, Desert Shield vets that are in the room today.
They came in strong.
Yeah, we have people from my age demographics showing up.
Let's see.
Sorry for the dead air. I just wanted to kind of scroll through. So
yeah, same here. Sorry.
there is a section in here with related to infectious diseases, and I just kind of want to hit on that. Some people may feel like they were exposed to or they suffered through some infectious diseases that must have manifested within 1 year. So you have to have dealt with this. And have residuals from one of these issues within 1 year of your separation. These are words I cannot say, so I'm going to skip down to the ones I can. Malaria, tuberculosis, non-typhoid salmonella, Shigella, and West Nile virus. And there's a couple others that when you look at the link, you'll see them, but I'm not going to try and speak Latin. There are a handful. Looks like there's about 10 or 11 infectious diseases that if you dealt with this either on active duty or within 1 year, and you have residual issues related to these infections, that there are benefits related to that as well.
And then to determine your eligibility, obviously, you had to have served on active duty and had, like Jen mentioned earlier, been deployed to one of those countries overseas, whether it was flying by, right, or you were stationed out in sea or in land. have any of the conditions or symptoms that we spoke about earlier. The conditions have been arised, but not again not diagnosed between now and August 2nd of 1990. The condition is chronic, right? So that means that you're dealing with it currently. You're dealing with it often. It's a frequent condition that it's basically all the time with something that you're dealing with. And like Jen just mentioned, um, resulted in a VA disability rating of at least 10%.
I think we have banged out our outline.
Yeah, I do want to mention something in the chat that I'm seeing a little bit. The PACT Act is a big, um, it's just a big
Blank.
location, right, where everything is at. But I know I've seen a few people in the chat mentioning about like Camp Lejeune, right? So all of that is a part of the PACT Act, but each one has its own presumptive in the PACT Act. And again, just want to make sure you guys understand is you don't file for burn pits. You don't file for Gulf War syndrome. You don't file for Camp Lejeune. You file for the condition that caused. So myself, right, I'm service connected for allergic rhinitis and asthma. I filed for asthma. I filed for allergic rhinitis. What got it connected to uh, to my VA disability was the burn pit presumptive, right? So you don't file for burn pit. You don't file for Camp Lejeune or Agent
You don't
Orange.
file for an exposure. You have to have
Exactly.
a resulting condition, whether it's an undiagnosed illness, undiagnosed symptoms,
Yeah.
or a related. There has to be a residual effect. Just based on exposure, there's no claim. There's no value. I mean, there has to be a resulting outcome, whether it's a diagnosis or
Yeah.
symptoms. Let me clarify the PAC Act. The PAC Act. So the Gulf War is one pocket
Right.
in the PAC Act suit. So the PAC Act is a law that expands veteran benefits and healthcare to those exposed to burn pits and other toxic substances, including Agent Orange. Okay, so this covers a lot of different toxins, locations. The PAC Act is a very general umbrella related to toxic exposures for veterans overall. Okay, so there's Vietnam, there's radiation, there's asbestos, there's Camp Lejeune, there's Gulf War. This is the PAC Act is an overall umbrella. We're talking specifically today just about the Gulf War aspect of the PAC Act and the toxic exposures. Okay, so there's and maybe if Kat wants to throw in the PAC Act, if she hasn't already, the PAC Act resource. Again, there's a lot of different aspects of the PAC Act overall. We're just focusing for this about the Gulf War.
There's a question in the chat, Javon. If you are at 100% and you are a Gulf War vet, should you file for a PACT Act? I'm telling you, sir,
I
vet
say
to
don't
vet, vet
debate.
to vet, I would highly encourage you not to. um, what are you going for? Right, you're already at 100%. So what are you trying to go for?
I mean, if you're 100% and you're not PNT,
That's a different conversation.
a strategy for trying to achieve that PNT and proving that your conditions are static, they are not likely to improve, and can potentially continue to degenerate throughout your life. That may be a mission that you might want to embark on. But make sure, again, that you've got really good evidence to support that, because you don't want to put your 100%.
Oh, you're PNT, sir? No.
Already PNT.
That's what he wrote. Yeah.
I think across the board, I wouldn't recommend poking the bear. 100% is 100%. Unless there's some significantly life-changing condition that you're dealing with that is 100% disabling in and of itself. You've already achieved 100% PNT. They've put you on a shelf and forgotten about you. Go ahead and let that dust build up.
Yeah.
Just be dusty and musty and forgotten about and revel in your benefits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I saw one up here. Sleepy. That's an awesome first name. That's how I feel some mornings, some days, some afternoons.
I like love, love.
Um, um, I'm trying to file for the PACT Act and burn pit. Remember, you don't file for PACT Act. You file for, like in my case, I file for asthma. And then what connects it is the burn pit presumptive. So no help so far. I live in Dallas, Georgia. Sign up. If you're not a member already, but sign up and you can get a conversation with one of our reps, um, explain to
And
you the
check our free
program, and then
resources.
yeah,
Check our free resources, vaclaimsinsider.com. Search the PAC Act and look at what are the issues that are presumed related to the PAC Act. Okay, so where
yeah,
did you serve? What are the presumed condition, and do you deal with them? And that way, when you identify, oh my gosh, I've had sinusitis since I was in the Middle East. Okay, great. Well, that's a condition that once you have it formally diagnosed, we see on average a 30% rating for veterans who are successfully service connected for sinusitis related to the burn pit exposures that they experienced while they were in Kuwait, Bahrain, Afghanistan. Um, but you have to have a formal diagnosis related to that exposure. You
yeah.
can't just file a claim because you were exposed to the burn pits.
Um, Diana, Coach Henry. So those two diagnoses you mentioned gave you 100%. It knocked it over the top. I was already at 100, but those helped me get to the top. Yes.
Let's see. Mel asked, "What is PNT?" So once you achieve 100% rating, if it is identified that your conditions are static, meaning they're not likely to get better, they're not likely to improve, and are potentially continually going to degenerate or get worse, then a veteran would be assessed a permanent and total. So that 100% and the benefits that come with it are for life. You're good. They've stamped it. Again, they close the book, they put you on the shelf, you're permanent total. Now, the recommendation again is once they've put you on the shelf and you begin gathering dust, once you start to maybe file more claims and try to achieve more, there's no reason to do that because you're opening yourself up to additional evaluations, potential reduction of that 100%, or if they look at and identify that, wow, one of these conditions that we had previously deemed as static has gotten better, your PNT could go away. So once you achieve that ultimate 100% permanent and total, hang up your swords, go find a different fight. You're done. You've won. You're done.
Dusty, Dusty and Musty. I think that's
Musty and musty.
I should go on a T-shirt. Listen, 100% P and T. I guess the way I explain it, Jen, is the VA has the VA has said that your condition, it's there's one or more of your conditions are never going to get better. If for some reason, right, next month they find a new pill that can cure one of those conditions or can help it, now you file a claim to try to get, I don't know, whatever you're trying to go for, and you're already at PNT. Now the VA can say, well, now they can evaluate you because they weren't going to, but now they can evaluate you. So now they can say, well, now that we have this new research that can help you or can cure this disease that this veteran has, let's take away the PNT. And what do you lose with PNT? You lose champ VA, you lose property tax depending on the state you live in. There's just so many benefits that you lose out on trying to achieve what. So, but again, that's a decision that you can make on your own. I personally don't ever recommend it.
I see a completely out of pocket question from Richard. Richard was rated 0% for headaches back in December of last year. And then he submitted an increase this year in June and achieved a 50% rating. And he's questioning, will he get retroactive pay? So, Richard, since you filed an increase, it was a new claim. Okay. So you had a new effective date of that 50% rating. It wasn't an appeal.
Yeah.
Since it was a new claim, what they're saying is that back in your December claim, there wasn't enough evidence within that claim to support that 50% rating. So when you filed a new claim with new evidence that successfully supported that 50% rating, that's a new claim with a new effective date. Now, had it been an appeal, like maybe a higher level review, and again, these are things that you're going to, maybe get with a coach, because we're going to use some acronyms that you may or may not understand. But a higher level review could have maybe identified that there was in fact evidence in that December claim that may have supported that 50% rating. But because you did an increase, that's a new claim, and the evidence was found in that new claim to support that 50% rating. So that won't be a retro benefit.
Yeah.
I hope I answered that question and didn't use too many words. I have, everybody on this team will tell you, I have all the words. I have so many words. If Bev's out there, she knows. She's always calling me out of my words.
Chris, congratulations. So I just got 100% PNT. The best course of action is to not file anymore. Yes, that's it. You're done. All right. Congratulations. Right.
You won. You're safe.
You're one touchdown. Touchdown.
I see a good question from Rusty, who is asking not only about telemedica, but asking about a potential connection for sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is the redheaded stepchild of the VA. The VA does not like to approve it. It is a PGA tour. It is not a putt-putt claim. It is, you're committing in all likelihood to a heck of a fight. Listen, but as coaches, we're committed to fueling your tenacity, keeping you in the fight. And if you've got the medical evidence to support a successful claim, you need to ride that out. So, on Rusty's question, can telemedica help link sleep apnea to mental health, or is there another group? First, for those of you that don't know, telemedica is our preferred provider network. They're an organization of medical and mental health providers that support veterans with medical evidence, such as independent medical opinions, we call them IMOs, nexus letters, or DBQs. And these are, VCM Caleb, shout out, these are golden tickets. Okay, these are the highest likelihood, they're the keys to success. They support that nexus. Okay, now with a claim supporting sleep apnea secondary to mental health, telemedica can very likely help out with doing a medical records review. They're going to review your records as a first step. Okay, they're going to identify, is there not only a scientific link, but do your medical records support that link? Okay, so there's two pieces of an opinion. One is the science behind the physiological connection between these two conditions, but then the opinion is also specific to the veteran. It would be a Rusty specific opinion that your medical evidence supports that there is a likely connection between your diagnosed sleep apnea and your mental health connection. And then they support it with the science. So again, golden ticket. These are super valuable documents, and they support not only the science, but the opinion specific to the veteran based on your medical history. So we're regularly recommending connect with telemedica, do the nexus review, and they're going to do a deep dive. They're not just looking at, hey, sleep apnea. They're looking at any formally diagnosed condition that's in your record. Their research into your records and their research on the physiology side is so thorough and in depth that our veterans see success. Cool. I would love to throw out a number, but I'm not going to. But regularly, we're seeing that their documents are increasing the likelihood of success astronomically. So, yes, they can potentially help.
What is TARA? TARA is an acronym for Toxic Exposure Risk Activity. Usually happens when you submit a claim now after the PACT Act has been established. The VA will go and do a toxic exposure where they'll check to see if you qualify for any of those conditions in the PACT Act. So I guess it's the VA's way of trying to help you. Sometimes they do a TARA on claims that I feel like don't make sense.
I think it's just a standard process
Right, it's a
now.
standard process
I
now
think
because
they're looking to see if they can concede that there was a toxic exposure that may have potentially contributed to this. Um, and sometimes it's completely not appropriate. It's just a
right.
consideration that they need to give overall now.
I had a vet submit for tinnitus, and they did a toxic. I'm like, that has nothing to do with this claim, but okay. But again, it's the VA's way of trying to help, which it's
Duty
always
to assist.
appreciated. It's always appreciated.
Yes.
It's always appreciated.
Um,
Before we wrap, we still have some time, but I do want to make sure we address um, some key things, right? If Kat can please post a link to Mr. Brian Reese's new book, who is flying off the shelves.
his third book.
Um, yes, yes, yes. Please make sure you get your hands on it. Every time Brian drops a book, I feel like I always grab not one for myself, but I grab a few of them because I like to just drop them around, like in Home Depot. If I see a vet or I go to the VA hospital, I'll drop it around. Just, I mean, knowledge. Well, I don't know. They say knowledge is power, but unapplied knowledge is not power. You need to apply it. So the book is full of knowledge. It's full of secrets. That's what it's called, actually. The VA claims secrets. So please pick up the book. Grab one for a friend. Grab one for a fellow vet. Pass it along. So like that, um,
In my
you can
community,
spread the
I have
wealth.
shared these books with my older vets in my community that they're not online, they're not doing blog searches, they're not using YouTube. I've shared it with my older vets in my community. And they're still learning. And it's not just about disability. The first two books, they're benefits in general.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, there are benefits everywhere for our veterans, and the Brian's books cover a lot of them. So I've shared them with a lot of my older vets. People that just kind of strike up a conversation. Oh my gosh, in the back of my car, I've got a book. Let me get it for you. And they're great conversation starters so that maybe a veteran who doesn't realize that they are eligible or that they do have potential for a pretty significant rating, when they're looking at the book and they're identifying, oh my gosh, I never thought about this as a perspective. Perspective is
Yeah.
so valuable. So you can download it for free. You can order a paperback on Amazon. A lot of different options for getting the book.
Yeah. It is super helpful. Again, it's
We
something
have
that's just going to help you tremendously.
Louis Solis asked a question about he's an Iraq, Afghanistan veteran. Do we assist with veterans who are living overseas with VA claims? And as we all know, United States veterans live everywhere around the world. I have served veterans in Japan, Korea, Germany. I've got 2 veterans in Brazil currently. So absolutely, by all means, yes, we support all veterans of our nation's military. No matter where you live, by all means, please reach out and get the support that you deserve.
And you're at 80%. So we just got to figure out how to get that last 20.
Yeah. Have you maximized it, or is there more? In all likelihood, if you've achieved this 80% rating, being strategic and building off of those already service connected conditions can be a really high value strategy to close that gap.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'm just going to, I think you did kind of hit on Sleepy. What about SMCs? Special monthly compensation is very specific. And these are things that I would prefer to say, get with a coach, and understand that you can get with a coach and talk with a coach and kind of hammer out what's a strategy. Are we the right fit for you? Do you need a coach? Do you not need a coach? You do not need to expect that you're going to get a bill every time you talk to a coach. That's not how our program works. So you can spend time with a coach, identify that, wow, maybe this isn't the program for me. Maybe I don't really need a coach. Thanks for the tips. Let's part ways. We don't send any invoices to our veterans until you're successful with a rating increase. So, if you can get on the phone with a veteran ambassador, you can get on the phone with a coach and really find out what is appropriate for you. What's your strategy? And can you do it on your own? Do you need the support from a coach and a elite program coordinator, or is this something you can do on your own? Thanks for your time. Thanks for the tips. Everybody have a great day. Understand that. We're here to help every veteran in any way we possibly can. Join the program, find success, have a chat with a veteran ambassador, have a chat with a coach, find your own way.
Yeah.
Find your success, find your path to success, and make sure that you are optimizing the benefits that you deserve.
You hit on something, Jen, and that's what, when I came here, I did my homework, aka Google. And I read online, and I was like, well, every person that gets a bill is because they got an increase. No one gets a bill, they don't get an increase. I was like, well, what am I gonna lose? So when I came on, I got the I got the tools, but again, I just wasn't coachable at that time. I needed to be coachable. I needed to, and that's what, I guess, delayed my success. But again, every person is different. Every person is not, it's not a one size fit all, right? When it comes to this VA claims journey, because no one cares more about your claim than you. No matter how awesome your coach is, if you're not going to your doctor appointments, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you are not submitting your claim, there's only so much your coach can do for you. So,
That's
but
so
yeah.
true. I love Jeff Finney's comment. Everyone needs to have an intent to file on record.
Yes.
Understand that an intent to file does not automatically guarantee back pay. So let me explain what an intent to file is. So an intent to file is essentially just giving the VA a heads up. Hi, I'm a veteran, and I intend to submit a claim within the next year. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to declare a condition. You're just bookmarking a date that could potentially result in back pay for you once that claim is submitted. So again, you submit an intent to file. Hey, VA, I'm Jeff Finney. I'm going to submit a claim this year. Not sure what I'm going to do. I still have some evidence to develop. But within the next 365 days, I intend to submit a claim. That gives you 1 year to make sure that you've got your medical evidence, you've got your strategy developed, and to get your claim submitted. So if specific criteria is met with regard to your evidence and your diagnosis, you could potentially have up to 1 full year of back pay for your rating. And if your first claim goes from not being rated to 50%, that back pay is significant.
Ooh-wee.
Absolutely significant. It's life-changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
At 50%, your healthcare is covered. You have a year of back pay. You've got your dependents on your benefit, and you have potential to build more. So use your intent to file. Absolutely. Now, I do want to tell another caveat. I have veterans who come to me and say, hey, I'm meeting with you on July 1st for the first time, and my intent to file expires on the 14th. Hey. I can't work. I can give you a pathway to success. I can't go back and make sure that, hey, you have to have been establishing, you've had a year to work on this. You just can't come in and ask for that intent to file. Now, if your intent to file expires and you didn't use it, put another one in.
Uh-huh.
The key is success. If you don't get that back pay, okay. But now you're successful. Now you're rated more accurately, and there's more potential to continue to go. So don't put all of your eggs in the intent to file basket. It may be helpful. It could, be a nice windfall if it's successful, but don't bank on it. Bank on your evidence. Bank on on the potential for a successful claim, and celebrate if that back pay comes.
Yeah. Intent to file only works if you have the condition diagnosed, right? So if you don't have it diagnosed, the condition doesn't exist, right? So just make sure you guys understand that part too. I have a lot of vets that sometimes they'll win their claim. They're like, well, why didn't my back pay go all the way back to when I did the intent to file? I was like, well, because your condition never existed when you did the intent to file.
Yeah.
So,
right on. That was a really good shout out on Jeff Finney. Thank you so much for throwing that in there.
We gotta make sure we get that T-shirt of Dusty and Musty out there.
You know what? When I'm prepping my veterans for sinusitis, we're talking. Veterans going to go see the doctor, to pursue that diagnosis or have a CMV coming up. I use that as an example. So, when do you experience your sinusitis symptoms? Well, what's your daily, stuffiness, sleeping with your mouth open, snoring? What are your stuffiness symptoms? But what does it look like when you have an exacerbation? Did you just travel? Has it been a really windy day? Did you just help to clean your mother-in-law's dusty, musty basement? I so, so it's a term I use pretty regularly. Yep, we're making t-shirts. We've got the boom and now we've got dusty and musty.
For the P&T veterans, Dusty, you wanna stay dusty and musty.
Dusty and musty. Sounds like a set of twins.
Exactly.
Um,
Awesome. I'm really glad, we got to do this again. Just kind of recapping what VACI is in a nutshell: strategy, education, medical evidence, one-on-one coaching. Um, our lead program it's a lead for a reason, right? We truly care a lot about our vets. Um, a lot of our coaches are veterans. A lot of them are not, right? But they're still a part of the community, and the in, they're enthusiastic about learning, enthusiastic about helping. I haven't met a coach here yet that hates coming into work. Honestly speaking, I honestly haven't. Don't tell Brian this, but I'll probably do this for free. I just, I love doing this. I think this is awesome. Helping vets out here, and if I can help someone not go through the pitfalls that I went through, um, I'll do that 100 times a day. I don't mind.
yep, absolutely. I now I think that, my strategy sessions with my veterans, when I first get to meet them and I first get to plant the seeds related to strategy and perspective. And let's make this as easy as possible. Get your VA
Yeah,
benefits. Get your VA benefits. And when you have your VA benefits, everything that truly in your heart is connected to service and your overall healthcare, maximize your benefits once you get them, but make getting your disability benefits, make getting the benefits as easy as you possibly can. Don't fight the decades of I don't have the records, the military lost my service treatment records. Make it easy on yourself. Get a strategy that's high value, that's easy to win. Make investments in your documentation that's going to get you a return on that investment. If you're buying a Nexus letter, make sure that it's a Nexus letter that's going to support a high value successful claim. We're looking at 30, 50, 70%. Don't mess around with those 0 and 10% because you want the value. Because once you achieve that value and you're watching that percentage increase, the benefits are going to come. The compensation is going to come. That life change is going to come. And you'll feel validated and vilified once you have that success and you're using those benefits to take care of your family and your healthcare.
exactly.
I think we got about 2 more minutes left. If Kat could throw in our links again, throw in Coach Henry, throw in Coach Me.
Coach Me. I don't know who this Coach Me is.
Coach Me. Throw and then the discovery call. If you've got more questions and you just don't know if the program is right for you, how can we help? How does our billing work? Do you even need a coach? Do you need to get with an elite program coordinator? Get on the phone with a veteran ambassador. Ask questions before you even get assigned to a coach. You may get a lot of tips that can support you through our resources and success on your own. The focus, the key, the goal, everybody needs to be successful. You need to optimize what you deserve. Okay, whether you have a coach in an EPC or you do it on your own, go get it. You deserve it.
You guys have a good one on purpose.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, and thank you all for your service.